Hi, in this tutorial we're going to create a multi-tap delay in Supercollider. So let's get started. We're just going to create the synth here and talk about how to implement it elsewhere. Synth def, and we'll call it multi-tap, and then create our basic synth def. Okay, now basically we're going to use an object called multi-tap. And there's a couple particularities to this one, which we'll cover. But basically, it takes a times array, a levels array, and an in, and then a buffer number. Okay. So if we take these in order, you give it an array of delay times, and it'll play that many delays. So if I say give it an array of 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, it'll play 4 delays. It'll play my original. Well, I can mix my original sound in. I'll play a delay at 2/10 a second, 4/10 a second, 6/10 a second after 8/10 a second. Okay. So and then you have to have the same amount of items in the levels array, and then so you can have it say, for example, diminish. You go 1, 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, something like that. All right. In is your source that you're delay tapping, and then the buff number is you need a buffer to store these delay lines. A buffer that stores these additional audio signals that are being delayed. All right. So there you go. So let me close that for now, and I'm going to make a buffer, and I'm just going to use B. Okay, and then .alloc allocate. And I'm going to allocate to my server S, and the number of frames is going to be s.samplerate. And times, it has to be the amount of seconds. It has to be greater or equal to the greatest delay time I want to use, single delay time. So I'm going to make it huge. I'm going to say 4 seconds. It's fine. And that should be that. Okay. And so we'll set up some arguments. Arg. We're going to have, well, let's set up a var first, and we're going to have it source. Okay, and I'm going to make this a live source. You, of course, can put like a sampler in there or whatever you want. So I'm going to say source equals sound in .ar. And then I'm just going to have an in channel, something like that, variable. So we'll have an argument for in channel, ICH, and we'll make that equal to say 0 as a default. Okay, and then we'll send source will have a sig, and then the signal will be the multi-tap. And then we'll send all this out, and we'll send it out bus, and we'll send the signal out there. Okay. So we need an out bus argument, so OBS equals, and we'll send it out the left channel for now. Now let's fill out some of the other things. So we have a buff here. We need a buffer here. Oops. That's this buffer that it's going to read from. And we don't have a default because we won't know until playtime, until it's creation time, what it's meant to be. So levels array, we'll skip those for now. We'll have the levels array. We'll have the in be source. And then we'll just skip the rest of them and have buff number. So we do buf num colon to skip down to the buff number argument, and we'll put buff. Okay. So that should get our multi-tap going anyways. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about these two items. Okay, so they're expecting an array of items. Now you can declare an array in Supercollider by using the hash. So you do hash or £, and then putting the array. So that'll be an argument. So I'm going to say delay times. Okay, and then that equals to, and then you can have an array of times. All right. Now, and then like that. Okay, and then you also can have levels. We'll put amps. And same thing, we'll have the £, or the hash, and then an array. Okay, so that's how you can declare an array as arguments. However, there's one exception or one caveat, and that is the amount of items you put in that array at add time will be stuck there. So once you say I put 4 items in the delay times, amps has to be the same, so you have to have just the same amount of levels or amps as you do delay times. But let's say I put 4 in of each one. Once I run it, I can't send it then an array to change those arguments of 5, okay, or 6, all right? In this case, actually, in multitap's case, while you can, when you create the synth, and I'll go over this again later on when I'm actually doing it, when you, let's say I put 4 items in there and 5 items, you can't change the amount of items unless you actually go into the synth stuff and re-add it and change the amount of items in these array brackets. But not only that, once you start a synth, once you create an instance of a synth with those delay times fixed, you can't change them. So once you have something running, you can't have an adjustable delay time. Basically, you're stuck with that particular tap until you kill that synth and start another one with a different kind of tap. I'm sure there's ways around it if you really are keen on having a sort of movable delay time while you're playing. You can have several synths that fade in and out or something like that. They're all solutions kind of hacky. I think if you go to the Supercollider, the Nabble mail list, there's talks of some other solutions. There's another delay called buffer delay buffer read and delay buffer write, and that seems to work pretty well. I kind of like this one. It lets the time sustain. That one doesn't seem to let the time sustain as well. The delays, I'm sorry, sustain as well. In any case, we're dealing with multi-tap right now. So let's stick in, let's see, I think I use 7 delays. Okay, and I'm just going to copy my information here. Okay, so we have, for example, 7 delays, and now that's going to be fixed. So let me actually make this on a new line. Okay, that's actually going to be a fixed set of delays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and you see I have like every 2 seconds and then a little gap of 4 tenths of a second, and then every 2, and then another 4 tenths of a second, or just 2. Yeah, oh, that's fine. So then I need to make sure I have 7 amps, and I'm just going to make this decreasing, say, by 0.1 every time. So 0. So we'll have the first one be slightly less than 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.5, 0.4, and 0.3. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Except maybe I won't have them trail off at the end. I'll just have these, I'll have it trail off until here, and then maybe slow down the trail off. We have the less one be at 0.4, because that's quite quiet. Okay? So those are amps, those are delay times. Now those will be fixed now to that number. Not only will they be fixed to that number, but once I start an instance, those are the actual delay lines that I'm using. I can't, without resending the synth-def, I can start another instance with a different set of delay times, but I can't change it while it's playing. Okay? Which, it isn't ideal, but it still works pretty good. And in my DSP framework idea, I think that the approach is that you would start a whole different synth for every kind of preset in that effect. Okay, so in any case, we're going to put those down in delay times. Okay, because it takes that, and then amps. All right, so then our multi-tap is taken care of. We have our delay times, we have our buff, and everything going. So hopefully that's good to go. We'll boot our server and allocate our buffer, and let's see if there's any errors in our synth-def. Oh, there is, of course. Amps. Is it the hash come before the amps? No, that's fine. Daytime amps equals, sorry, equals. Okay, add that. There it goes. And then we start our synth, a equals synth. I'm going to call it multi-tap. And we're going to have to declare the buffer at least. So buffer f is b dot buff num, and the in channel out bus is fine. We'll just keep those the defaults. So let me make sure I don't feedback. and there it goes. Hello, 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 hello. So there you go. Multi-tap, delay time. Okay. Okay, so you saw how that worked. Now, if, for example, I wanted to change it, I couldn't change it while it's playing, but I could have a different thing of delay time. So let's just copy that and put in the argument delay times. And then this will be an array, and it will be, say, let's do something every 0.1. But it does have to have the 7 items. So 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so if I went ahead and started that instead. Hello. Oh. All right, okay, and then we have to close that. So all the arguments are, it's another array, right? Hello, 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 hello. Okay. So there you go. But if I tried to do a.set while still playing, that would not change. You can change the amps, but you can't change the delay times. Now let's just do one more thing, and let's make it a nice sort of stereo signal. So I'm just going to use this pan 2. So I'm going to go I'm going to eat the signal variable equals itself. Oh, equals pan 2. So this will be a stereo pan.ar. And I'm going to create kind of a Leslie cabinet kind of effect, which is nice, goes with the delay time. So the in will be the sig. And then the position, we're going to create an LFO, just local one, just to run that. So position -1 will be left, I think, and the positive 1 will be right. You can always go to the help file. Right, so -1 is left, positive 1 is right. So that's perfect for like a normal low frequency oscillator. So we can do a sine os dot kr, because we're just do a control signal. And we can attribute an argument to the frequency. So we'll put pan os, something like that, or pan rate. Should put like that, maybe like that. And we don't need to range it or anything because it's already going, a normal sine oscillator is already going from -1 to 1. We'll add the pan rate argument to our args, and we'll set the default to, say, maybe 3. Okay, and basically this will pan, end that bracket, this will pan the delayed signal back and forth across the two channels. All right, so let's send that. Oops. Right, there's no comma there, sorry. That's just a continuation of all the arguments. Okay, and then let's send the original. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I sent too many. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So that's a nice little Leslie kind of effect. And of course, you can change the pan rate here. I have the pan rate set to a much slower rate, so we can try that. And it pans at a much slower rate. Well, good. I'll leave that there, and hopefully that's useful for you and you enjoy that. Good luck.